All right, y'all. Back again another week for the Bearded Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Hopefully all technical difficulties are taken care of from last week. I listened back to the live and I didn't have sound, or it was really light coming off my computer. So hopefully we're back full on and at it for another week of golf. It was actually a pretty busy week. It felt like there was a lot of golf going on throughout the
Yep.
world, but we'll just hit it from the top here. We'll address the Butterfield Bermuda Open. Um, a becoming a staple here on the PGA Tour. Every single year there seems to be guys fighting for their cards. You see a bunch of rookies out here, fighting for some level of status. We see Camilo Villegas, his second week in contention, was a shot back to start the day with Norin leading going into the final round, and Villegas getting his first win in the 9 years. What do you
Yep.
think about him making a resurgence at this point in his career? Still looks amazingly healthy. We talked about it last week that had some personal trials and tribulations with his
Yeah.
22-month-old daughter passing away due to cancer, but him looking really good, man.
Yeah. I think another thing, I mean, just like one of the guys with just such natural ability, just waiting on him to get back healthy and get everything back situated, back at home. But yeah, swing looks really good. I mean, still hitting the swing and draw. And I mean, I'm just happy for that guy. I mean, 2 years of exemptions. I mean, doesn't have to worry about his card, and went ahead and took care of everything with one fell swoop. So good on
Yeah.
him. And I mean, I think he's going to take this momentum to the Tournament of Champions. Now has to go to Hawaii. Now, no reason why you
Yeah.
shouldn't. So definitely good
Yeah.
look for
Looks good.
Vegas.
And shout out to him with the AJ ones.
All week.
The Jordan,
Hmm.
the Chicago Jordan AJ ones, looking clean out there. So he's got actually I've followed him on socials and he's got a pretty massive AJ1 collection, highs and some lows. So
Yeah.
loving the look. We're Jordan fans over here. It's a solid golf shoe. So shout out to him. Seeing the leader, the winner circle again, and
Yeah.
again, just kind of researching his career, and the Bryan brothers of YouTube fame. Wesley's been on the tour. I think was his 119th start, but his brother George Bryan. Getting his first start out on the PGA Tour based on an exemption into this Butterfield Bermuda Championship, and they both made the cut on the number, or pretty close to the number, with Wesley going on to win, get tied for 37th, and George tied for 69th, and will both continue to scrap it out in Q School to get more status going into next year. Hopefully for George, some kind of temporary status. What do you think about YouTube fame turning that into real life golf? Success, or at least an opportunity to have some success. It seems like the pressure seemed to wear on George in particular, while he's always been a beautiful swinger of the club. Two questions for you. Do you think this translates long term? And did you ever pick up on their YouTube kind of vibe? I never really did. I mean, I always knew about them, but I was never a regular subscriber to their channel. What are your thoughts on those two things?
Yeah, same. I, never really took to him on YouTube. I mean, but you know how I do with that. I don't really follow too many YouTube, so I don't really subscribe to too many YouTubers just because of my usual icks. I mean, it's either like it doesn't take much to turn me off to some people, the voice, whether or like if you're just corny and stuff like that. So I definitely I'm definitely happy to see them finally make it. Wesley, not so much. George, yes, but didn't weren't they both on Big Break? Isn't that how we remember them first?
Um, is that the first
I feel
introduction that
like
we've
I
had to them?
I feel like that was my first introduction to Wesley, but that was a while ago. They're in their mid 30s now. So that
Yeah.
was like, maybe I don't want to say 10 years ago, but I want to say
I mean, it's
seven.
been a while since we've seen big
big
break.
break. Period. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Wesley Bryan was on the Palm Beach, Florida version in 2015. So
So
yeah,
almost
eight
a
years
year.
ago, probably
All
the
right.
last
So
season
yeah.
that they had.
Okay, so that does make sense then. Yeah. So that's where I remember Wesley from mainly, not even the YouTube stuff, but then, their professional career didn't really kick off like they thought it would. But
Hmm.
just two guys that have always had it and probably mentally didn't. So glad for him to finally, mature enough to, lock in when needed, and that's how they made the cut. Because George shot like a 5 under or something like that on the back
Hmm.
nine to make the cut, even just right on the number. So, really good on him. And I think ultimately, when these guys, can get a 6,800-yard course like that, you kind of got to go crazy on it and make sure that you're doing a lot of scoring. And glad he was able to
Yeah.
do that on a course like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting course setup with some shortish par fives and really long par threes.
Yeah,
There's some two
feature
hundred
hole
plus
was like
yard par threes.
230.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting course setup. The wind wasn't crazy as it's been in past years out there in Bermuda. I
Right.
mean, they're right off the water. I remember last year it really just whipping around and them having, some really big struggles with that wind. So I mean, shout out to them. I really do hope it translates. Like you said, they're in their mid 30s at this point. Wesley in my YouTube feed occasionally will pop up. He had a round several years ago that the PGA Tour will feature where he was playing solo and
Yeah, first
out,
off with his caddy.
as a dew sweeper. Yep, and they are running, from shot to shot. And I think he ended up shooting like a 68 or 69 that day. But it showed slow play does not have to be a real thing, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show here. So, yeah, shout out to the Bermuda. Any other stories from that tournament this week that you want to touch on before we move on?
Um, Alex Noren shot a 61, but then after that, it was kind of like, no, I mean, the second round, he shot 65 too. So he shot like, he went 10 and then went 5 or something like that. He had it. I
Yeah,
mean, he just got
I,
caught.
I mean, I, I remember a few years ago when he switched to this heavy, the reliance on the cut. I don't think he hits any other shape other than the
No,
cut.
yeah,
And I remember him talking about it being a mechanism to be able to control, his outcomes. You can, what do they say? What's the phrase? It's a golf phrase. It says you can talk to a cut,
you can
but a
talk
hook
to a
doesn't
fade, but
listen.
a hook doesn't listen. Yep.
And
Hmm.
so, I think he went in with that mentality, but I don't know. There just seems to be certain limits on, that, and if you're in against wind, a cut doesn't necessarily help you out. And so I know the breeze was up
Right.
a little bit today, where you lose quite a bit of yardage, and yeah, I think you saw that a little bit today, where he was just coming up short, losing a little bit of accuracy, with that cut. And so, yeah, you can have 2 good days and really fairly mild conditions, and you can see his talent come through. But I don't think it's necessarily fit for all conditions. And I think it just speaks to still being able to work the ball in both directions and not only relying on one shot shape. So, I mean, shout
True.
out to him. He still looks good, out there, but you've just kind of seen him fade into the background. Clearly, he's in this kind of, fall season trying to, fight for some status and get some points going into next season. So I want to see him continue to win. Seems like a really good dude, just really humble, a worker. But I don't know if that
Yeah.
cuts the cut seems to be, temperamental. So,
Agreed.
um, and also, just maybe I was wrong. Tell me what you think. Course conditions on TV did not look that great. Some of those tee boxes look a little bit scratchy. It seemed like they may have had some tough weather this year, but in years past, tropical, it didn't look like it was in prime condition. What did you notice anything about the course conditions this year?
No, I mean, I guess I wasn't really paying that much attention to it, but it didn't look too bad. But I mean, I mean, I guess we're so used to our woodland tree courses and stateside that are always well manicured, and they're playing northern golf where the greens is lush and everything like that. It might just be a little
Yeah.
different than we're used to, but it didn't look too bad.
Yeah. It just didn't look super prime.
Right.
Um, Moving on, I'm not going to talk a lot about this one, but over in South Africa at the Nedbank Championship, Max Homa getting his first international win. Over the likes of Justin Thomas, who also was there on a sponsor's invite. Sure they got the check cut to make that
Hmm.
journey. They were both on social media recently in a safari, so made the most of that trip. Also, Fairway Jesus, Tommy Fleetwood,
Yep.
also playing. So it wasn't a light field by any means. So shout out to Max Homa going over there, and I don't know those South African golfers. You know, that's their major, and they're
Yeah.
scrappy. I don't know. We've had quite a bit of South African golfers really compete. So what do you think about Max Homa crossing the ocean, getting his first international win?
Yeah, I mean the game looked really pure. When I was able to catch a few swings, I mean, it looked like he was just able to move the ball how he wanted to. He made a lot of really good putts. I mean, he went bogey free first, second round going into the weekend, so it almost looked like he was trending that way anyway. So to go ahead and follow through and get the dub and win it by two strokes or something like that. I mean, going away, looks really good on him. Game can travel. I mean, it's going to look really good for the President's Cup, even though it's in Canada. But playing in international zones, just like you said, it'll look good on him and everything like that. And yeah, honestly, just really happy that the Nedbank Challenge has gotten like a little heightened status because remember, this was used to be like very much so end of the season Sun Belt swing, Australasian swing. It was lumped in with that, and it
Yeah,
wasn't really necessarily like a big field. It was, a non-cut, and it was just a lot of fun to be down there in South Africa. Now it's kind of like playing into their road to Dubai status and points and everything like that. So yeah, good on Nedbank and good on Max for winning a slightly more elevated event now going coming out of Africa. So looks really
yeah.
good overall, and hopefully he's trending, the right way going back in the beginning of 2024.
Yeah, and he, typically starts out the last few seasons on a really good, on a hot streak, and him playing on the West Coast.
Yeah,
He's a
Cali
native
swing.
California. Yep. So he is in good position, game trending in the right direction to continue that trend and play well to start this coming season, as it's really going to be upon us. We've talked about this multiple weeks in a row where the golf is hot and heavy. There's been no
Yeah,
slowdown. There's still going to be, golf, significant golf coming up, both on the LPGA. DP World Tour closes out its season next week. We're going to see some specialty type tournaments going into the end of November, beginning of December. We're going to have like a 2 week break, and then we're back at it again, to start the new year. So,
that quick.
man, golf is crazy. I mean, it's just,
They're gonna find somewhere
you
to
know,
play where that weather is good.
exactly, and it's been quality golf. I think just people are wanting to keep their games in shape and play throughout the year. So you'll see people pop up that you don't necessarily even expect to be playing. Hell, I was surprised just as a random rewind to see Adam Scott at the Bermuda playing this week, and I was like,
Hmm.
Adam Scott. I know he said it was kind of on his travel back to Australia, but
Hmm.
an interesting stopover for the weekend to see him playing it out over there. So, yeah, shout out to golf
Truly,
dominating
just giving you
in
an
the
excuse to go to
off season,
Bahamas.
trying to get some reps in.
Yeah, it was on my
Exactly.
layover. It was on my layover. Me and
um,
the fam was just like, yeah, we gonna stop by Bahamas real quick. Pull up on Nassau. I mean, I think there's a little tournament there too.
yeah,
Guess I'll go ahead and compete. It ain't
yeah.
nothing. Come
Got
on, Adam
got the
Scott.
got the clubs with me. We'll go on and do this thing.
Right. Yeah. Might as well.
Um, Might as well do it. So another kind of thing that's associated with the PGA Tour, just as an aside. So I've noticed just my app usage. Back in the day, the Golf Channel app was legit. It was, you
Superior.
know, all the things that you needed in one place. And then, I want to say it was the beginning of this year that NBC started to try to migrate you over to the NBC Sports app, and they told you that there was going to be an end date on the Golf Channel app. Every time it tried to redirect you, I kept going back to the Golf Channel app. I'd swipe out of the NBC Sports app and move back until it
Hmm.
finally ended. And I tried to give the NBC Sports app a run, and honestly it was an inferior experience. It always had you going back out to a individual website, so it would, on my iPhone, link me back to Safari and open up the PGA Tour website versus actually functioning within the NBC Sports app for
Yeah.
additional information, stats, news, etc. So just getting frustrated, I started using the PGA Tour app, and man, I'm telling you, they're on to some really good things. And they have all the tours featured. They have direct links to all, of course, in a PGA Tour, type of leagues in there, Canada, the Latino, etc., PGA Tours, champions, all that jazz. It's direct information for DP World Tour and LPGA. Do they go to their outside websites? Yes, but it's still contained within the PGA Tour app. So you're not having to exit out of it. But the coolest thing that I discovered today, and I don't know how long this feature has been there, but it was like being able to add, alerts or a live ticker to your phone. So it'd be on your lock screen, and I have an iPhone 14, so it's got the little dynamic island instead of the note, the
Yeah.
chin forehead thing. So it gave me the status updates for the players that I selected. So I was able to, while I was in and out of the room watching the actual Bermuda Championship today, see the live updates and see how Camilo and Alex Noren were tracking. And I thought it was super cool to be able to interact with that. That was something that Golf Channel never had. So I don't know. Have you tried out the PGA Tour app, or what are you doing for your stats and news these days?
Man, the same thing happened, man. I just had no fun with the NBC Sports app. It's just it was hard to navigate. It didn't really make sense. It just was like, blacked out screen, slick writing, but to me it wasn't functional. It wasn't very, fan friendly besides the look of it. It wasn't
Mhm.
actual functional. The I just, re-downloaded the PGA Tour app. I was using it, but nothing could compare to the Golf Channel app. But I was using Score Center and just hopping online and checking out PGA Tour and lpgatour.com. It was just I had become an old
Yeah.
man. I was just, pulling out my bifocals and looking down over my nose, over the screen, trying to find out score.
It was so bad. I mean, it
It
felt like
was, man.
a void in getting
Bro.
information. And hell, for a while, I started to lean on ESPN, but they're so sometimey with their golf coverage.
Seriously.
You'll see stories up on ESPN that have been up for 3 weeks, and there's, just haven't refreshed articles, and,
For
you
real.
don't see anything new. It's just like, damn, if y'all actually, cared just a little bit, you could actually find, some viewership, which, I've talked about ESPN Plus's golf coverage is actually pretty damn spectacular throughout the season. So
Yeah.
just a plug for that next year. If you don't have ESPN Plus and you like getting some good Thursday, Friday coverage, ESPN Plus is pretty legit, and their commentators are superior over CBS and NBC in terms of live coverage. They just really have a handful of ex players who are not corny or trying to be cool. It's just, a laid back experience. I think Christina Kim has been moonlighting with them from over on the LPGA, and she really provides some fun insights and interviews with the players. So I don't know. There's definitely a void, but PGA Tour app is coming in the clutch. So check it out if you have not done so. For your golf news, again, some really cool features, and I think they're trying to really take advantage of the void that the Golf Channel app going away has left. So if random people at NBC ever see this random, live stream on YouTube, get y'all
Please
stuff
contact
together.
us. No, contact us. Contact us.
Yes.
We'll tell you
We can
a
help you
few
do
helpful
better.
hints. Yeah, we got you. All creative criticism. Nothing too negative. We're just trying to
No,
be there for you.
you had something good going. Why'd you screw it up?
Right. It looked
So
cool. It just don't
it
function.
did. It's so bad.
It
It's
doesn't
so
function.
bad. And I don't really care about Premier League. So all this other stuff
Right.
that's in there, I'm golf is a niche sport. Keep it niche. Um, our title story, just kind of the thumbnail for this particular video. Lilia Vu won her fourth tournament of the year, two of those being majors. So she's had a heck of a 2023 season, really just cementing herself. We've talked about this, her along with Celine Boutier, who also has 4 wins in 2023. Going into today, Emily K. Peterson, had a dominating lead. When I went to bed last night, I was like, okay, she's gonna, wake up, scratch out, this win. She has a few shots to play with, and by the time the coverage came on Golf Channel, Peterson was struggling, and Lilia Vu was running away with it. Um, but one thing that I've noticed both in her social media posting and also the lack of sponsorships is the stardom that comes with this type of success. And I don't know if, this summer, or excuse me, not this summer, the off season, this winter, in the next few weeks, that sponsors will come flooding in,
Hmm.
depending on what happens next week in the finale for them. As she goes up against Celine Boutier. For the race to the CME Globe and the millions of dollars that are on the line there. I don't know if that rolls in, but one, she's pretty damn absent on her own Instagram page. When you look at
Yeah.
her average post, she posts about every month and a half. It's infrequent to say the least. I think she just her last post was her announcing a partnership with Arcis Golf, which is like a club corp type of competitor,
Hmm.
and just sparse. And so I don't know. Even on the live broadcast, she doesn't necessarily have a infectious personality. Kind of awkward a little bit from what I've
Yeah.
seen and some things that I've watched. What do you think about, is her winning enough to make her a star? I don't see it. I don't think that she's got the it factor that sponsors are looking for, or that
Yeah.
turns eyeballs to the LPGA. So my answer is a no. I can't think of any stars that didn't have a certain look or an infectious personality that got them
Yeah.
those extra dollars.
Yeah. Unfortunately for her, she's in that middle ground where not and like I don't want to come off as harsh, but kind of like just standoffish, really, because it's like, oh, Lilia Vu, like she cold, like oh, but like you when you go to look to find out more about her, like there's not really a lot to be told. It's just
Mm-mm.
then she comes out and she wins, and then it's like, oh, like Lilia Vu won again, like oh, Lilia Vu, but then you're like, wait, who is Lilia Vu? Like,
Right,
and
right.
you want to know
I
more
want
about her again. Just
you. Yeah, you
it,
you want to go look up her social, see what she's presenting, but
right.
there's not there much there.
There, and now, don't get me wrong. I feel like if she got to the point of like, I don't know, if she was more, I don't know, if she continues this into 2024 and becomes just a prolific winner, I think there's just something's gonna happen to where she becomes a star. If she
Maybe a
falls
couple more
off,
years.
yeah. And again, most of the ladies on the LPGA are still pretty young, mid 25, I mean mid 20s type deal. So they got a lot of time left to, establish a rep and, build that up. And again, like we were talking about with social media presence, you don't have to be there every day, but make yourself more accessible. Like even if you're just again in a partnership with some other brand, if they're posting on your behalf like, hey, we have Lilia View here, repping such and such apparel company, da 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 da, show her a little swing in slow motion or slow her, like, the zone, the like the green reading pose, and then have like something going from there. I mean, once a week, once every few days. You don't have to stalk
something.
your IG, but like
No, and
post,
those
post
partnership
on your
posts have
stories.
become something. Those partnership posts have become really popular, right? Where
It's so cool.
your
It's so easy. You
yeah,
got
your
two links in the
sponsors,
post.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it makes it easy. And I think that again it kind of doubles back. Does she have sponsors knocking at her door trying to get her signed up? And I don't know if we see that.
Yeah,
Which again, that would make life a lot easier if she had, sponsors with, robust social media teams that would be able to foster that relationship, get her out
yeah,
there, it boosts her profile without her having to really lift a finger. She just shows up to
yeah.
these events, get, for shoots or whatnot. So, I mean, I don't know. I am doubtful of it. Like I said, I think there's some things that she does. I've seen her make faces on greens, and I don't know, man. I don't know how
Yeah,
well
like
liked
stink
she
faces.
is. Yeah, a lot of stank faces. I don't know, again, what her reputation is. Yeah, everybody's got a crew, right? People that they go to college with. Um, but I don't know. I'm very interested to see how that develops.
Right.
4 wins in a year is kind of nuts when you think about it. And,
Seriously, on any
her
tour.
and yeah, and her and Boutier have a unique opportunity to take advantage of the momentum from this year. They have separated themselves. People that we've looked for to really turn up their game, Nelly Corda, the
Yeah,
Corda sisters in general. Who's somebody else that's been hot and faded? Who she actually reminds me of that could easily go away is she reminds me of Lizette Salas in
exactly.
certain ways. And so, both in stature, which I want her to make sure that she keeps her health. You can look at some of her college pictures from just a few years ago to where she is today. Again, health is wealth. I want her to stay on top of that. But her personality and just kind of her quick rise reminds me of a Lizette Salas.
Yeah,
And, that can go good or bad. You can take advantage of the opportunities, but it could
yeah.
go either way at this point, to
It
be
kind of
honest
makes
with you.
you. It kind of makes you wonder, like, who's in her team, like, and who's in control of her social media. Like, maybe now that you're a four-time winner, maybe you got a little bit of extra change to hire you somebody on, like a little social media manager. You don't have to have them on the team all the time, but hey, boom, I'm gonna text you, like, hey, like, here's my logins, like, if you see me, like, you show up to a few events, like, I'll fly you out. Just post a few of my, just post a few segments about me or something like that. Or even even something just as small as, here's my logins, check my DM, see if any sponsors are reaching out to me. Because 2023 sponsors being DMs the same way as regular people. They're not gonna
Yeah.
physically call you no more. They're not gonna come out to
Yeah.
the tour event and reach out to you publicly. We don't know these
Yeah, we don't
people.
know how we don't know if her
Yeah,
agent is forward thinking in terms of that kind
very
of
true.
presence and whatnot. So yeah, man, it's interesting. I mean, again, I know the success has come fast. We didn't know about her really, until this year, and she just popped on the scene, came out hot early this year with her first win being at the Chevron, and then
Yeah,
she's just really continued to catapult from there. I mean, especially let's say she goes on to win the CME Globe and has a $2 million prize. Again, life changing money, and this has been a life changing season. Invest some of that in yourself. Get yourself a team.
yeah,
I don't know. We don't know, right? We don't know if she has a trainer, a social media manager. I doubt she has a social media manager, but invest in the infrastructure because these things will continue to bear fruit.
yeah,
You have more sponsorship dollars rolling in. You're able to compete at a higher level. You just have more resources to be able to
yeah.
pour back into your game and get more out of it. And it just
Exactly.
seems
Get you
like
a
a simple
structure.
equation.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
you a structure, stick to it, get you a regiment, get you a tournament schedule, because now that you're going to be in a lot of these events because you're a proven winner, a Solheim Cup participant, people are gonna look for names to search out and be like, oh, that'll bring crowds. That'll be such and such and such. Get you a structure now. Make you a few
Hmm.
appearances through like even if you're bro, there is nothing wrong as many perpetrators as there is in this world. Okay, fake it till you make it a little bit. Get in these pro-ams and key and all that stuff and get you a few smiles out there in the media. You tell
I
me you
know.
start cheesing with these pro-am execs and CEOs and CPOs and CFOs that they're not gonna be like, oh, get Lilia Vu in there, get her little picture in there. Hey, show our pro-am foursome picture. What? They gonna take
Yeah.
all. It's super simple. And again, nobody's asking you to be doing this on a day-to-day basis. You can go off and be a recluse for 2 weeks or whatever when you off the schedule and not playing. Go off the grid or whatnot. But when you're on tour.
Yeah.
Because
So so speaking of like he and ha ha, and I think that's a really good point, right? Everybody's not built for social media and social interactions, right? That's some
yeah,
people are just natural introverts, but it'll be interesting. So I had to go back just to remind myself. So in the Grant Thornton, the LPGA PGA Tour
she's
mixed
in
event that's
it.
coming up, she is in it. And guess who? Do you remember who her partner was?
Isn't it Cam
So
Young?
interesting. No, Joel Damon.
Oh, he's a
So
friendly dude. She's
he's
gonna have to be friendly.
right. So Joel Damon, the lovable, loser or sweetheart,
Yeah.
the guy who underestimates himself
One
on
of
the PGA
us.
Tour.
Yeah,
He's one of us. Every lovable people love Joel Damon, both golfers, fans and actual golfers alike. Just really
absolutely.
underestimates himself. So it'll be very interesting. One, how much interaction we see in this tournament. I would imagine quite a few walking interviews and on course type of stuff to take
Hmm.
advantage of this opportunity. It'll be very intriguing to see how they kind of feature this particular group, if we get to see insight into her, or if they avoid it. I think it's very intentional about who they put on camera. Those
Yep.
that they know they will be able to get a good interview out of, and they've shown a history of doing so, they will turn to them. But
Very
will
true.
they kind of give her the cold shoulder? Who the heck knows? But it'll be a good opportunity, especially with who she's partnered up with, to either be exposed one way or another. Right? We'll either see that she's got some personality that we can't see, or we will not see any of her.
Right. That's
We'll
a
we'll
very
see.
good point. Hmm.
Anything else you want to touch on with Lilia Vu before we move on, or um, anything from the
Well,
LPGA this week?
yeah, from the LPGA. I mean, dang man, I wanted to see Peterson win. Come
Sure,
on.
that's your new Charlie Hull replacement.
Yeah. So you shoot 74 on the LPGA, you probably you lost to everybody in the tournament off that round. You cannot shoot over
Yeah.
par in the LPGA. You cannot
Mm-mm.
shoot over par in the LPGA.
To be real, I mean, she was struggling to catch the center of the club face today.
Yeah.
Um, she
Nerves.
had some she had some nerves going today. The driver was low and left quite a few
Yep.
times. Just really struggled with iron play. You could just tell she was gutted by the time she got down to 18. She ended up finishing with a double bogey. Going into that hole, she was in the top 60 to be able to play next week. But with her double bogey, she finished 70th place, 10 out of being able to play next
Wow.
week. She started the week in 80th place. So still a respectable finish, but cost herself on the last hole with the double bogey.
Gutted.
And you can just see it. She knew. I mean, you just saw the heartbreak and frustration. And the commentators were talking about, that's going to drive her in the future. And I hope that, I mean, clearly she's very young and has a lot of years left to play. But sometimes,
It
if
was
she's competitive as she looks, some people can just be crushed by that and they
yeah.
never make it back. But
Yep.
but basically what I saw today was someone. who probably was going to get after it and, figure out how to not make the same mistakes going into the final round of a tournament with a healthy lead and really kind of had a full 6 or 7 stroke, just swing from 3 shots up to I think she finished 4 strokes back, 4 or 5, honestly. So I can see her
Yeah.
fighting back, but super disappointing.
Well, she's gonna be in the Solheim Cup next year again, so she better show up again. I mean, that's the crazy part about it. She was nails in the Solheim Cup. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
she had it all going, everything. 2 holes in one, or 2 holes out, 2 hole outs. I mean, she was doing everything for them. So,
Yeah.
without saying, hopefully she does better on the LET next year and wherever else she's playing, for sure.
Yeah. Golf is so tough mentally, man. I mean, from
It
week to
is
week. I
so
mean,
finicky.
especially on the professional level. Like hell, we can talk about it in our amateur. Like just we talk like in this year alone. Like I feel like I've been probably 3 or 4 different players.
Yep.
Week to week, it's like I had yesterday. Literally had my personal best. Um, and the week before I felt like crap. I felt like I had some things going, or I was like, okay, I'm not far off, but yesterday was like playing on a whole nother level, hitting wedges like crazy. Figured out the driver, was putting, didn't have a double bogey on the card, no
Yeah.
3 putts. It was just a solid round. But the week before, I was a totally different player.
Yeah.
But imagine that on a professional level when it comes down to your income and earning for yourself. That how up and down you can feel when like I said, the difference of one bad hole cost her the ability to earn money next week.
Yeah.
That's can be devastating
That's
and really
crushing.
send you in a tailspin, or you're either going to be like, these next month and a half, I'm going to fight my ass off and train until we get
And
back
that'll
into the
never
regular
happen
season. Let me
again.
see if she's
Yeah.
even. Yeah, I mean, let me see if she's planning this Grant Thornton thing. I don't see her. Yeah, she's not listed. So I think they filled out all their teams so far. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be either a productive offseason for her or one where she's really thinking about what happened today. So,
Yeah.
shout out to Emily K. Peterson, talented golfer. Like you said, she's going to have plenty more opportunities to do her thing. Couple articles that we'll talk about the live one that you talked about or shared with me earlier this week, which we had kind of seen on the same day. And this
Yeah.
is
Literally
guys
timing.
who freaking are out of a contract. So let's close that out.
Hmm.
All right. So first off, we got Graham McDowell featured. Pat Perez. Pat Perez, our guy, not my guy really. Um, Fake
Used to be
sneakerhead
because
Pat
of the Jordan.
Perez.
Yeah. Fake sneakerhead. Yep. Love the collection. Love the collection, buddy. That's about it. That's all I got for
Yep.
you, bud.
But he's, not played well enough in these first 2 years on Live. Their rules seem to shift week to week based on, he's in the bottom. I think it's 25 to 44 players. And based on his status, he has no contract, no team. So he's waiting around for somebody to pick him back up. I think they go to this qualifying tournament in December as well
Hmm.
to kind of audition. It seems
Yeah.
like so. Pat Perez is one of those guys. Let's scroll down. David Puig. They were talking optimistically. At least the article that I read,
Saying he'll get back
that he
in.
would. Yeah, he's gonna get back in. I don't think he's gonna have an opportunity. I think he's going to have an opportunity. He's not going to be shut out. But
Yeah.
imagine a guy like Pat Perez not having a place to play next year, or is on the Asia tour all year.
Yeah.
Matt Jones. Matt Jones, fast player, highly talented man. I honestly, even though again, Matt Jones is not moving the needle we're not missing him on the PGA Tour. But one of these guys that would sneak up every few years, win a tournament,
Yeah,
secure an exemption for a couple of years, play solidly, but never exceptional outside of his four career wins. On shared between the PGA Tour and DP World Tour, but a highly talented dude. But I guess he wanted to go get the money at the tail end of his career, but now may not have a place to play next year. What do you think about him,
right.
man?
I mean, another lightning in the bottle type guy, but I mean, you remember him back from the Shell Houston Open when it was Shell was the title sponsor and everything like that. He hit like
Mm-hmm.
a on 18, he hit that chip in the playoff. I mean, like he's got
Yep.
nails when needed. So I mean, and the article that I sent you at least showed that he had been in the top 100 for what 8 years consecutively or something like that before this.
250 weeks. Yep.
So it's not like he doesn't have the game. Well, 52, so 5 years, so 5 straight years
Mm-hmm.
using the top 100. But even then, that's still a mark in
That's
itself.
impressive.
With
That's impressive, man.
thousands of professional golfers, for you to stay in the top 100, that's a good one. I love seeing this. I love seeing this name
For
because
this
bro,
Burnt
you had it
Wiesberger.
all. Yeah, you had it all in DP World Tour. You was about to become one of them guys in Ryder Cup. Not necessarily like a star, but you were going to be somebody that was likable, a locker room guy, somebody that these people could be like, yo, like I know he might not be the best, but like Burn gonna be a good locker room guy. We should pick him up.
Yeah.
Now you out of contention for that, but and now where you at? You out of a league. You out of a league, bro. Like, and again, like I like that. I guess that's just the hater in me sometimes, right? But like, very happy to see that he is falling off the bandwagon after all that stuff. So good on
Well, I
him.
think here's what I think. I caught an old article or an old interview with Hank Haney on
Okay.
My Golf Spy. It was from earlier on in the year, or maybe even I want to say tail end of 2022. Either way, on Twitter, if you follow Hank Haney, he is a live kind of chill. Like he's always about live. He admittedly in this interview with My Golf Spy said that he just enjoys trolling people. He gets off on it. He likes kind of just making arguments that are
Yeah, he's
maybe not
addicted.
the most. Yeah, he likes it. He likes the reaction. But at the end of the day, he was very honest. He's like, when we were talking about official world golf ranking points before this kind of recent determination that they would not be getting them, he said they got their money. And at the end of the day, he's like, any other complaints that they have, they got their money. So
Right.
essentially, he was even saying, shut up at this point, right? Stop
Yeah.
begging. You knew what you were getting into when you made this jump. And so, a guy like Bernd Wiesberger, you kind of feel that way. Like, you got your reward, no matter whatever you negotiated to go over there. Hopefully, you negotiated well and it sets you up for a lifetime,
Yeah.
and you've been able to also capitalize off the team stuff because he definitely hasn't performed as an individual. You hopefully again secured enough money to not regret this decision. Does he have a lot of runway to figure it out and you know regain his career, whatever that path looks like, or regain his spot on live? Yeah, because here's what I was thinking about when reading this before we move on to the last name on this list is for these guys who are over here on live, and let's say it doesn't turn out to be where they continue to grab players from the PGA Tour or other sources. Guess what? This list might become null and void because the options may be super limited to live to be
Yeah.
able to grab players.
Yeah. Hmm.
If no one's out here trying to flock because they're like they see the expiration date or they see that this isn't going anywhere. Okay, so for every person listed here, just may be a default like shit we have to pick them up
Yeah.
because we don't have any other options to choose from. What do you think about that aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, and I think, but see, that's the thing to me that we've discussed before. You think these guys that are contemplating live aren't following the court rulings and stuff like that? Like, you don't think that they're not invested in this? Because at this stage, now that it's fallen through and the litigation has proven that it is not conforming to tournament golf for the official world golf ranking points, what is the argument now? What can
Yeah,
they say? What is the rebuttal now to where they can regain confidence that they'll get official world golf ranking points? Hmm? Because the guys that are getting these points are going to the Asian tour. And how many rounds are the Asian tour playing? Four. Everybody is playing four with the cut, despite how many players is in it. You can have your little
yeah,
68 players or whatever, but as long as it's a 54 hole event with a non-cut, what are we even talking about? The
yeah.
format is not sustainable, as we have
It's really
mentioned
not.
time and time again. So again, these guys that are, oh, everybody's itching to get over to live. Well, not if they're young and they're still trying to get in these majors and they're not inside the top 50 or whatever already. No, they're not, because they're trying to get these world golf ranking points so that they can qualify for this stuff. You know,
Yeah.
again, don't get me wrong, this is life changing money. But again, you act like being on the PGA tour is gonna, make you a broke boy or something like that. You know what I'm saying? The
Right.
sponsors alone
Right.
gonna make you
Right.
a very swell guy. So I,
I mean, I was looking at a picture of, this is so random. So the background with Camilo Villegas' house, like they were showing his son on Halloween. Again, this
mhm.
man has not really competed very much on the PGA Tour and hasn't won in 9 years. Homeboy was living very palatial for
you know,
somebody who hasn't won in 9 years and really hasn't played a lot of golf in the last 4 to 5 years due to injury and life. But he's still doing quite okay.
right. You make that first big check, you get you a nice house, you pay it off, you don't have a mortgage anymore. You worry about the bills. You pay off the car. You're not worried about paying for a Benz AMG payment every month. You pay off two cars, one for the wife, one for you. Then you already know you're getting a free loaner everywhere you travel, flights
Yeah.
paid for. Then every time you're on TV or on any kind of event or any type of public showing and you have your title sponsors on, they're paying you for that. It's in the contract. You're getting thousands of dollars just to put on a Titleist logo, just to put
Yeah.
Ping on the side of your hat, just to have Mutual Omaha on the side of my polo. Hella bread. Don't talk to me, bro. You're gonna be fine if you don't go to live, bro.
So
You
last
know,
one on the list. Last one. So because I
even
know we have some
more
comments
poetic.
about him.
Even more poetic.
Graham McDowell. So it's interesting that he's last, but I think poetic that he is the last one on the list. And I think what we texted about earlier in the week is, I'm going to try to get down to this quote, is I feel like I've been a good spokesman for the league and a good ambassador for the tour, and hopefully there is a captain that wants me on his team. So I just thought about something. I'm gonna stop sharing this, but Graham McDowell, those five. Let's go through it quickly. So we have Pat Perez, Puig, um, Brent Wiesberger, Matt Jones, and Graham McDowell. Him talking about being an ambassador for Live, that's what captains do. So he did
Right.
not end up with a captain spot in this league. He's just a
For a
rank and
reason.
file player, right? His last real bit of success was the 2010 U.S. Open. That's it. He
And
won that
and then
major.
you remember he randomly won the Mayakoba when it was in Mexico or whatever. And what did he do? He had to win it in the playoff, and he had to hit a miracle rod, literally a miracle 5 iron from 195 just to make that happen. Um, I want to can we look up? Can you share your screen and show who the live captains are real quick, Roddy, while
Uh,
we're on it?
Let me pull it. Yeah, keep going. I'll look this up.
because let's talk about the captains. You got DJ, career number one, multiple major winner, prolific
Okay,
winner on the tour.
I'm
One of
pulling it
the
up right now.
yeah, one of the few 20 plus tour wins on the court on the tour at one point. And then on top of that, he had that streak of like what 8 or 9 years where he'd at least win one event on the PGA
Mm-hmm.
Tour. Captain for a reason. Bruce Kepka, major championship winner. Um, Bubba Watson, Masters winner. DeChambeau, U.S. Open winner, Ryder Cup stalwart, still in his 20s, brainiac, musclehead, meathead, all lovable things amongst live players and live fans. You know, they love that. They love roids, shooting up, and all kinds of stuff like that. They love type stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So, like,
Yeah.
Graham, you're not competing with none of that, brother. I'm
So
just
yeah,
here to say, I'm just,
let's scroll let's
Sergio
scroll back
Garcia,
through it.
right?
So yeah, we got Bubba Watson. You mentioned DJ. We got Cam Smith. You know
Major
who
winner,
got
number one, putting,
got hot
King of
last year.
Australia. Yeah, what are we talking about?
DJ Martin
DJ.
Keimer, also
I
a
mean,
major winner.
major winner, face of Germany, the young face of Germany besides Bernhard Langer. Again,
Yeah,
holds weight. You're not
yeah.
even top
You
five out of Ireland that we're talking about, Graham McDowell. We don't even mention your name, bro.
no. You mentioned Bryson DeChambeau, Sergio
Yep.
Garcia. As much as we hate him, I mean he's got
Proven
pedigree,
winner.
right? Masters winner. You know,
Most
stalwart
points
on
on
the
the Ryder
PGA
Cup.
Tour. Yep.
Yeah, pedigree.
Let's keep it moving. Phil Mickelson. We can hate him. We can hate him, but
Proven
accomplished
winner.
dude. I actually, right before we hopped on, read an interesting story about guy who does the Monday Q info, which we talked about him a couple weeks ago with the PGA Tour betting scandal
Mm-hmm.
or the Corn Ferry betting scandal. He does a lot around in and around the game, but he had messaged Phil about a player that was going into the second round of Q school, and reached out to Phil and just said, "Hey, do you mind touching base with this guy? Giving him some tips and tricks." And Phil ended up connecting with this guy. Playing 9 holes, doing short game with him at his house, and then they went and played 18. You hear the stories about Phil in the background. The public version of Phil, the private version of Phil can be very different. He's a flawed human being, heavily flawed,
Yeah,
but you can't question his golf pedigree. Probably one of the
at all.
smartest minds to ever play the game, and the way that he looks at it. Does that also probably turn him into a socially awkward asshole sometimes? 100%. But
Yes.
you cannot question his pedigree. Winning, oldest one to win a major ever. Can't take
Right.
that away from him.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Kevin Na, I question this one, but talented dude. We can move on. Kevin Na, he is what he is. Co-captains on the Majestics, Ian Poulter, Ryder Cup stalwart, Henrik Stenson, who had his, Ryder Cup, captaincy stripped as a result of his
Yeah.
move to live. But I
He
mean,
had that
still,
honeymoon bliss. He had that honeymoon open championship where he beat Phil. They were going crazy in that
yeah.
final round. Plus, he did some shit in the Ryder Cup too. But my thing is, oh my god, they're so lame. I can't believe they do this. Like, bro,
What?
take Kevin Na off the captainship. One of y'all take over that. No
I
way
know.
y'all do that, bro. That's so corny to me.
Yeah,
Like,
he's kind of lame,
ugh.
but
No, super.
Louis
Oh, winner.
Louis Oosthuizen, he's a winner, right?
He's a
Talented
winner.
dude, just can't stay healthy. Jaco Neiman, I think he got this one just because they needed a
He's getting
Spanish
paid.
team,
Yeah.
and he's got all the Argentinians and Spaniards
Mito
on the
Pereira,
team.
Carlos Ortiz, Abraham
Yeah,
Answer, I'm pretty sure.
So this is super random, just kind of joking around. How do you say this word, the team name?
Torque.
Okay, so watch and live, and it's probably a European thing. This is Team Torque. Torque. And I'm just, every time they say it, I cringe. I'm like, can y'all? It's Torque. It's.
They
I know I'm being a typical American, and feeling like we're the only ones that can pronounce words properly. But they call him Torque.
well,
GC.
it's an English word, and they have found a way to European it up because they got to pronounce every vowel. They do this every time. Like
So
perfect
those are your
word,
captains.
perfect word. Schedule. We say schedule. What do they say? Schedule. What is that? For what? For what? Tell me why.
uh,
Come on,
I,
man.
I, at some point in time, I'm gonna get out in the world. I don't think Europe will be on my list of places that I'm gonna
Right.
to
But anyways,
prioritize.
I told you to bring all that up today to say that Graham McDowell, you don't deserve a captainship. You don't deserve the pedigree you think you do, bud. I think you need to be on the, I hope somebody sees something in me that I didn't see in me, and then maybe I'll play a little bit better. Mr. I haven't won anything since 2018. Haven't been in the top
We have
100 since 2019.
bad.
Embarrassing,
I mean,
man.
he looks
Embarrassing,
old
man.
manish. He looks like
He
an
came
old
he,
man. Like
he came onto the PGA in his 30s. He's an old man.
he got the old man body going on. Got full dad bod. Trying to play
Old man
elite.
swing.
Yeah, just
Had a kid
around the
when he was
body.
like 38. Yeah, bro. Old man. He's an old man.
So I don't want to because we could go all day on slow play. We're gonna save that one. We're going into the into the off season. I'm gonna
Yeah, one of our
save
little off
my golf
seasons.
digest slow play article because that can go on. We can talk about that forever. We've touched on it many times, and we're already almost at an hour for today's show.
Yeah.
Um, Anything that you want to touch on before we sign out for the day?
Yes. On a personal note, I would like to say that if you look up the South Texas PGA sectional awards for the year, my home course, Wildcat Golf Club, won Public Merchandiser of the Year. So our pro shop facility, what we sold, and everything that we produced out of our shop ended up winning us awards. So we will be
Oh,
in Austin in early February to celebrate that. So congrats to Wildcat Golf Club. And
where did you say to look? South
South
Texas.
Texas PGA. You should be able to look under STPGA and find it under end of season awards. And again, like just one of the things that I felt like my GM has done a good job of just putting the right people in the right places and finally relinquishing some responsibilities to people that could provide some time and help out with that. So me and Carrie ended up taking over that, and we kind of commandeered that, and as well. So how I always explain to you how Carrie is really the number guy and I'm really the style guy. Because me, my style can go all the way from young man all the way to old man. So I can see it, in all three generations, all three kind of visions. So we got a little bit of everything in the store. Like you see the Bad Birdie hoodie I have on, but we
Yeah,
also have the
I was gonna compliment you on your
clean.
quarter zip there today.
It is so comfy, bro. It is like a one of one. So like FootJoy in the shop, Travis Matthew in the shop, Nike in the shop. So we got our regular stuff, but then of course we got our Bad Birdie, we got our Yada Golf. So we also experiment with younger companies, with companies trying to make a name for themselves. Sometimes local, sometimes a little bit more regional. So yeah, we reach out to pretty much everybody that wants to try to get their brand in our store, and if we can put our logo on it, we're gonna put it in the shop. So we've had a run with Puma, we've had a run with Cutter and Buck, they're one of our staples, and of course we could do like all of our staff stuff through them. So yeah, just a really good look, and putting in some hard work throughout the year and everything like that finally paid off. So just wanted to mention that. But other than that, um,
I
you
I
know,
just put the
let's
link to the at least the qualifications. I don't think they've updated the website yet to reflect this year's winners. They just have kind of the
hmm,
qualifications, but
yeah.
um, the
If I
link
find a
is
link, I'll
there
send it to you and we can post it.
in the chat there. Yeah. So, um, congratulations. That's pretty dang awesome. Always good to see the fruits of your labor paying off. So,
Definitely.
congratulations to your course first of all, and then you for your contributions to that win. So that's pretty
Absolutely.
dang awesome, my guy.
It was good because even the co-owners was like, you're going right, and I was like, ah. And they was like, you're going, like we're going as a team. It's all good. And I was like, okay, yes, sir, I'm there.
Awesome.
But
Awesome's a
just on,
fun little weekend town. So,
it really is. But on a lesser note, just throwing it out there for our Dallas sports, we always got to come back to it. Luca masterclass this season. I think he's MVP hunting, and I think it's going to happen. I'm just saying it right now.
I don't
Thoughts?
know. It's a long season. Hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully the health improvements that he made in the off season allow him
That
to
boy looking
have.
slim.
He's looking slim. I think he's it seems like I've seen him wince a few times with some lower body issues, so I'm hoping nothing that's lingering or going to pop up on him at any point in the season. But yeah, right now, one of our uncles messaged me randomly about do I think Luca's top five. This was like the first week of the season, and I had seen him in person twice that week, and absolutely, my guy is
Yeah.
otherworldly. He's a bucket. I mean, he can get buckets anytime he chooses. So when
Yep.
that three is on, it opens up the drive, and again, just with his height, he's able to he gets assist like like it's crazy because you'll
Yep.
look at his stat line and you see him scoring, but then you'll turn around and you're like, how do you have 5 assists already in the first half?
Right.
Um, and so the game is kind of nuts. So MVP comes with a winning team. Right now they're second in the West and on a really good tear. It's almost kind of crazy with them. I still don't fully get this whole in season tournament thing. I need to do a read up on that and why it's important or why I should actually care when they talk about it every other Friday
Yeah.
or whatever. But
Hmm.
they were talking about how the Mavericks needed to win that game this past Friday against the Clippers to be able to, not get eliminated for the in season, group play early on. And I was
Correct.
like, who cares? Like, I mean, at this, like,
Yeah.
I don't really care because it doesn't contribute to them winning a championship. But kudos for them for like kicking like the snot out of the Clippers, especially like second quarter on. They went
Oh
down
yeah.
like 8-0 and then they turned on the Jets at that point and
Oh yeah.
shout out to we'll probably talk about this. The not Rangers, God, Mavericks commentator. If you have not seen him
Lord,
ether James Harden,
my Lord,
you need to go
out of
check
my
that out.
mind.
But I think that deserves some discussion on this show. But
All
James
truth, by the
Harden,
way.
and this Friday was like a perfect, personification of that. You got James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, all on the floor together, and
They
they're getting
getting
blown out
30
by
balls.
30.
They getting
Come on,
30 balls. Luca, most
it
efficient 40-point game in his career, and literally
right?
had it in 23 minutes and came back to finish just as an insurance. The
Yeah,
stat line, like I posted, like I said, I posted on IG. It could have been a 42 in 26 minutes or whatever that he had did it for real. It would have looked a lot better, but I'll take 44 in 32 minutes. I'll
that's
take
right.
that. Oh yeah.
So shout out to Dallas sports. As our mom says, go Rangers, go Mavs, go Cowboys. So also Cowboys getting the win today versus the Giants. That really wasn't even in question, but they got
Right.
to win the Cowboys have to win a tough game against a tough opponent before I can put any
Believe
faith
in
or
it.
stock
Yeah.
in this season. So
Yeah.
um, Yeah, we'll see on that. But right now, we already know we've crowned the Rangers for the year. Shout out to the Rangers. I got to play Texas Rangers golf club this past weekend. So if you're ever in DFW, go check it out. It's well worth every dollar you spend there. It's an amazing course and setup. Fun course to play. Always in premium condition. Home course of the Texas Rangers. Go check it out if you're ever in DFW. But yeah, another week in the books. The Bearder Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Peace.